Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rebellious Ruth. And being a rebel, I always want to know what our government is up to. So yes. I have the amazing ward councillor. He never rests. Mr. Shaun Wilkinson is with us. Hello, sir. You are live.
Hello, Ruth. How you doing?
Good. On this Tuesday feels like a long week, eh?
Every day is busy, so it feels like the middle of the week tomorrow. We'll be fine.
Yeah. And you've been very busy.
Yeah,
as always. Are you right there with your camera set up? Do you need a minute?
100%.
Okay. Hello, Nick again. Hello, Cam. Lovely to see you. Busy moments. Awesome, Arbot. Yes. So, like Charlene Star was saying that you're a Toastmaster, hey? That doesn't
Charlene
mean
is so funny. She should join our Toastmasters.
No, maybe she will. Yeah, we'll try and work on that Annalene Krill accent there a bit, eh?
I know, very cute, very funny. And the pooch is in the mix. Is that a trained dog?
No.
Oh, well, it's trained to pose.
He's trying to catch stage fright. I swear so when we acquired him from Boksburg, when we got from Charlene, I had no idea. Anyway, it turned out he wasn't a purebred Scottie. He was a half and half. He was a Skorkie. He was a Scottie cross Yorkie. But anyway, we still love him. Yes.
Shame, so cute.
Yeah, no, they do. They're awesome. All right, so tell me, you've been busy with things, and you're president of Toastmasters here in Pretoria. Is that chairman? You're the chair of Toastmasters.
So what happens in each club, we elect presidents. So at the moment, I'm in a club in the area, in the ward, in Wilkinson, and I'm in the vital communicators and the latest election. I'm pretty lucky when it comes to elections. I normally get voted in. Even people who don't like me vote for me. So it's funny. In fact, I think that's how I won my first election. People made crosses and said, not this guy. Anyway, so here I am, 7 years later, and still getting elected. So Toastmasters, it's a very old organization, but they've had a few changes, and now they're doing a lot more vocational training, which helps people with their careers. So there's incredible pathways that you can go on. And so I'm enjoying it again. I became a DTM a few years ago, which is a distinguished Toastmaster, and then sort of took a break, and then COVID happened, and now we're back and we're having fun, because if you're not having fun, you're not at Toastmasters. Whoop, whoop.
Okay, whoop, whoop. Shaun, I see you struggling with your camera there. Do you want to
Is it moving?
It is slightly moving, but
why is that? Is that...
I don't. Okay, leave it. Yeah, let's try that. Now it's
better.
Not moving. Better, much better.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. And what have you noticed with Toastmasters? Obviously, you got into it how?
So somebody approached me and said, "Do you like speaking?" And I said, "I love speaking." They said, "Would you learn how to speak better?" And Toastmasters initially was a speaking club. It was a place where you go to speak and to listen to speeches. And then it developed, and they created roles. So in meetings, there are roles, like there's the Toastmaster, and there's a general evaluator, and there's and ah. So people who say and ah get counted out. And if you say it too many times, then crutch words. So how you're sort of bridging between sentences, and Toastmasters teaches you to unlearn those bad habits.
I need that.
Well, you're welcome. And Charmaine, bring her with. There's a 2-for-1 special at Vital.
Okay. We'll do that. And is Toastmasters in every region of South Africa? Well, not a main metropolis, shall we say?
All over. So literally, you can go onto any meetup site or any social media site, and there'll be a Toastmasters in your town. There are thousands of clubs around the world. And the nice thing, once you've joined, you're a international member, because you join the international organization. So there are subs, and it's about 1,100 per 6 months. And each club differs, because some clubs do a lot of catering. Some clubs like to give out ribbons and badges and prizes and chocolates and wine. And so it's really up to each club. But the general price is $45 for the 6 months and $25 to join.
Okay, so if it's something that you wish to strive for and improve in your workplace, I think salespeople, people in the telesales industry, you see, I'm doing it. Need. See, I said it again. Need
You
that
did it
training.
again. You did it again.
Yeah, I did.
We'll have to teach you.
Yeah, you'll have to teach me. I'm doing it again. I realize it's a bad habit, and I have a colleague that does it all the time. They literally use the word and then think their sentence and then put their sentence before they speak. It is very, very frustrating. I've literally counted them saying in 20, maybe in 30 seconds, about 12 times, like constantly, yeah. So it's something. And why is it that we do that? Do you know why we are?
A lot of times you're bridging and you're trying to gather your thoughts. So you're thinking, what am I going to say next? And because you're not prepared, and sometimes you're not listening to what the person's saying. So you're waiting to say what you've got to say. You're not waiting to respond to what they are saying. So when you have to think about what you want to say, you're trying to remember, I wanted to put my points across. So as soon as I get an opportunity, let me just remember. And the is a prompt for your brain to say, what was it that I was going to say? So you go, I wanted to tell you that Charlene was very funny. And the dog was quite cute. And one more thing. Oh, and the background with the fireplace really felt like it was very warm. So you sort of prompting yourself, and you are, when they say telegraphing, what's coming next.
Okay. And when guardian prepping, saying when you notice it happens more and more. Yeah.
It's like a sore finger. If you have a sore finger, that's the part of your body you will bump constantly. Even your sore toe, you will bump your sore toe continuously, no matter what.
100%. It's because you're just so aware of it, or you're not aware. Yeah, it's one of those things, Murphy's law. So yes, all right. And then I'm
going to start counting your ums. I'm going to move a bit. I'm not comfortable here, but I'm going to start counting your ums.
Okay, I'll just focus on me for a bit and let you focus.
Thank you.
And then when you're ready to come on, I'll allow you back on. So what was I going to say? You wear many hats, all right? Many hats. And your wife is a saint, bless her. Sort of, how has Toastmaster help you with confidence? 1 second. There we go. Are you happy now?
Yes.
Okay. So has it improved? Have you definitely felt that it's improved your self-confidence when you're debating? Do they teach you debating skills, how to get out of a certain situation when you're faced with a certain someone in your work as a DA ward councillor?
So there's so many interactions. Not all of them are pleasant, but the trick is, even as a councillor, when people are trying to make a point and they're belligerent, the skill is to listen carefully, because in amongst all that noise is a request or a demand, or people are feeling aggrieved and they want you to do something to assist them. So I do find that if I concentrate on waiting for the actual purpose of the argument or purpose of the belligerence, then I will find out what they want. And as any councillor will tell you, you even have to help the people who don't like you. So that's just the game. So people don't vote for you, and you can't just serve the people who voted for you. You've got to serve everybody. So the trick is, if you get an irate person, is to listen carefully, and you will find out what it is that they want. And it happens. Not everybody likes you, not everybody loves you, but you got to make sure that you service all the same.
No, 100%. I've learned that, and I said that to my son not so long ago. there are 7 billion people on the planet. Not everyone is going to like you, and you're not going to like everyone. And guess what? That's okay. It's hard for the councillor. It's hard for the councillor, but it's something I think as we get older, we have to let go. And boundaries is such an important aspect of that, of adulthood. That's what I've learned in the last year or two. So yeah. I don't know what Nick Mueller, hold on, let me get it again, is saying, Shaun, can you please make Ilan with what?
A plan.
A plan with Fukile Mama Bolas and Becky Chili. I don't understand what they say. So he wants you to introduce them to Toastmasters.
I'm going to make them honorary presidents. But you don't need pointy shoes to be in Toastmasters. You can come in your sandals.
All right. So you're not judged on your appearance, just how you talk. No, I'm kidding. But it's a huge thing, and I know so many people have, and I think that's half the spoof of Charlene, is that, you know, she has this. She talk the English very deliciously, you know, and I know, but I have a lot of Afrikaans friends, and I respect them. And if I had to, the tables had to be turned on me with Afrikaans, I'd sound like a bumbling fool. So yeah, but yeah, I see you reading the comments. So if anyone has, just say at Shaun Wilkinson, and if you have a particular, you see, I'm doing it again. That's now my 4th strike question. So you mentioned to me you part of the petitions. What was it? The petitions?
Oh, yes. So in the city council, we have different silos. You know, most organizations, a local municipality isn't much different. So although we have political positions and we get elected as councillors, we also get opportunities to be elected as role players, not officials, but as portfolio chair. So I was elected as a portfolio chairperson for the Section 79, which is an oversight committee in the local municipality. And the one that I'm chairing now is petitions. So it's important for people to know petitions are not your last straw. It's when you want to change things in the administration and your pleas are falling on deaf ears. Although today I had an interesting petition. There's crime at the Wonderboom reservoirs, and people do make requests. They call the TMPD, the Metro Police, they call SAPS, they have local CPF, but they'd like the city to consider the longer term objectives of community safety. So what they do is, normally it's through a councillor or an active citizen. They create a petition, they get people to sign it. I think in the first 2 hours, 150 people signed it, because people are tired of being vulnerable and at risk. So a petition means that we'll have a hearing. There are politicians in the meeting, there are officials in the meeting, there are senior executive and management, and then we try to find a solution. So petitions are varied. We have petitions from all over the city. At the moment, we're currently dealing with about 2,000 petitions. We're trying to differentiate between service delivery requests. So there's no point in 300 people asking us for a speed hump in their street. We become very aware the minute you ask for it through any other platform, and to petition it is to just aggravate the situation. The best is to deal with it as a service delivery request, and to make sure that the councillor, the officials, the Department of Transport assist you, especially in areas where it's unsafe. There are places where people are trying to walk, pedestrians are trying to walk in the roads, the pavements are terrible, so they do want speed humps to slow down the traffic. And so they can petition eventually, but it's not always the first port of call.
Okay. I remembered I mentioned once to you, and it must have been in the scheme of things, I mentioned to you that there was need of a speed hump in that intersection and near that mall where we live. And a couple of months later, voila, it was there. So yeah, that was quite amazing. Obviously, I wasn't the only one who thought that would be a good idea. It just made more sense, you know. So then crazy cars and crazy people speeding up that road. So yeah, and a lot of people are asking, and I'm not sure if you can answer this, but everyone's wondering about protests and riots and how, you know, that doesn't help. I mean, how, I mean, you have had protests. You've had the guys outside SARS, I think, this year, earlier,
Correct.
and they left a hell of a mess. They don't know what a dustbin is. They wouldn't know what a dustbin is if it hit them in the head. Yeah. So you had to calm that situation, and I think you had some quirky, well-constructed arguments in that one, if I recall. I'm not sure if you do. You remember what I'm referring to, obviously, without.
Yes.
But anyway, so yeah, okay. So you head of petitions. So what did I had a thought in my head. It's gone. It will come back to me. All right, and what about the idea of the cable theft? I don't know if you can discuss it on here. I know that cable theft has been a huge issue in your ward. How is that coming along? Does the city recognize, okay, this really has to be handled?
Yeah. So cable theft is a problem. It's a big problem in my ward. There's many areas in the city where cable theft happens. Look, with any plan, there needs to be a budget, and the city is trying to balance its budget and juggle its budget. And I know that there are many conversations. I met with the MMC of utilities again yesterday afternoon. And as soon as there's budget, there will be interventions done. The trick is that it's a multi-pronged approach. We use the local security in the Glencliff area. We're very lucky to have Axon that responds. I've got a wonderful support in a guy called Graham DeLonge, who's from the area. And then we've started patrolling with TMPD, but it's not a 24-hour situation. So the bizarre thing is that as we patrol and start catching them and getting rid of them at 2 o'clock in the morning, they start robbing at 4 o'clock. We go at 4 o'clock, they rob at 6. And it's really in remote areas. And you will see this week in social media, the mayor's been clamping down. Hundreds of kilometers of cables have been recovered. Scrapyards are being closed. We're trying to criminalize the purchasing of cables. Once that happens, and it's an in sync and it's a synchronized approach by all the enforcement agencies, we will find a solution. We're also looking at different technologies. There's a tender out for radar and sonar and different technology. And so I believe we'll get a handle on it eventually, and we'll be able to manage that people don't have it so continuously.
Okay. Sorry, my teenager just forgot what was happening here tonight. So anyway, well, that's progress. I think a large misunderstanding is, especially like in Cape Town, people think, okay, now this party's in my ward, now everything's going to change blitzvinnig. It doesn't work like that. And there's a huge difference between national and what would like a municipality be? Local government or?
Correct.
Right.
So that's what it is.
Right.
Local government, provincial government, and national government. It's three spheres. They're all independent.
So you basically need a budget from the national, right? Which leaks down to okay.
No.
Break it down for me.
So I like it because a lot of people don't understand, and it's good to know that local government runs its own, it manages its own city. There are grants, there are subsidies, there are concessions where national government has a strategy where they want to do, for instance, housing. So you'll have a Department of Housing and Human Settlements who look after housing on a national level. You'll have provincial that does housing, and you'll have local that does housing. And there are projects like that. But for instance, clinics are run by provincial. They're not run by local government. Roads and the management of service delivery issues is run by local government. But local government has the opportunity to get involved with private sector. You'll see, like, for instance, the most famous one is the Outsurance pointsman. Whenever there's an accident or a bottleneck or an intersection that needs help, you'll see Outsurance is out there. The city signed up a fire hydrant project with Hollard Insurance. So in the Hatfield area, you have the city property that's assisted with a property lease for the TMPD to be in that area. So there are methods of private sector getting involved. It does become a bit controversial when public organizations or public society organizations get involved and look for political points, because if you're not part of the solution and you're only aggravating it and using it as a whipping stick, then it doesn't work out that well. I've not seen that work out when people do things out of spite and malice. So there are places where people get involved to assist, and they do assist well, typically the outsurance pointsmen. And that's the nice thing about civil society and active citizenry. People can get involved. In our city, we've done Adopt a Spot, where people are taking over parks or places that we don't manage. And that's important for us to have people that take responsibility for that. There's an incredible park in Hatfield. They're working on the Springbok Park. Venning Park is available, and people do take those opportunities and make something of it. So it's really a finger in glove or hand in glove situation. If people want to work together, they'll find a way. Okay,
I see we have a question or agreed. Guardian Pepping, now he does an amazing show on, he also has a YouTube channel, and he does about preparing for whatever your emergency situation may be. That is progression. It takes time because our country's infrastructure was not designed for this many people. With technological innovation, things will improve. All right. No, for sure. And I think...
No, he's absolutely right. So just for instance, we were discussing the water grid in the city. And as you move around the city, we've even got in my area some clay poles, some clay, what do you call it, tubes that were installed in 1951. So you've got a clay, you've got asbestos, you've got steel, you've got I think it's HDME. It's all kinds of rubber and plastic, and you've got to make sure that the system works. So the city is embarking on a pipe replacement project, and that's going to take a couple of years. But at some point, artificial intelligence will tell us there's a leak or there's a impending leak in an area. So there is ways for us to use AI and use this fourth industrial revolution to make sure that we drop less water on the ground.
Okay, brilliant. And what's also exciting about water being on the ground, well, literally, is that Nelson Mandela Bay has now become a coalition with, thank God, to the DA. Like they're there, and people have opened their eyes and they're heartful and they've had enough, and they've said, DA, please help, please step in. I saw that.
Yeah, look, this multi-party coalition arrangement has to be governed by an agreement. It's not just a lot of people sitting in a room agreeing to share a piece of cake. It can't be as simple as you take one, I'll take two, and the rest we'll share with whoever. The coalition down there has taken, I think, 8 or 9 months, and it's been hard negotiating by the leadership to make sure that we agree on the principles that we want to use to govern the city. It becomes a bit of a horse trading. I saw it with the last local government elections, where one vote parties, people with one seat, want to be kingmakers, but they don't share the principles and the vision of what eventually ended up as a multi-party. And multi-party coalitions seem to be the order of the day, with people agreeing. And the weirdest thing is, in some areas we agree to get along, and some areas we don't. And then there's some places where people are in the multi-party and they also don't agree to get along. So it's just personalities. But at the end of the day, we have to govern, and we have to govern well. And the DA takes the lead in that. The best thing we've ever done is the policies could be the same, but our execution and our implementation. And so it's taking a bit longer. I can tell you, it's a daily, weekly, monthly challenge. But we're 1 year into it, and I can tell you there's hope. Once the multi-party coalition gels and is synchronized and agrees to get along and agrees to work together to get along to make sure the citizens benefit, that's going to be the underlying principle. And that's going to work for all of us.
Amen. Preach it. And I just keep saying to people, so I meet so many people from all walks of life in my day job. And I just say to, you say to people, you get into politics or someone moans about something and you say, well, are you going to vote? No, I'm not going to vote. I don't know who to vote for. And this is something, I'm not going to get into a discussion. Obviously, I'm going to say punt DA. But when I see it's a precarious situation, and this person's been voting for the government for the last 30 years, well, it hasn't been 30 years, but 25 years, or whatever, you sort of say to them, but if you're not going to vote, you're going to have them being in anyway. It's the numbers game. You have to vote, no matter what you vote. Okay, that sounded weird. But anyway, that was.
You have to vote. Absolutely.
You have to vote. Because if you don't vote, then you just allow the government in by numbers. We have to get more seats. We have to spread the power evenly. You cannot have this majority power that just bamboozles everything and everyone, and nothing frickin' works. So yes, that's.
Look, I would believe that you have to do your homework. There's so many choices. Obviously, my first choice is a DA, and we are liberal, and we accept that there are people inside our party with differing views on different things. We have Christians and atheists. We have all kinds of races, cultures, beliefs, and at the end of the day, we believe in the principles of the DA, and we're good for it. But there are other parties in these coalitions that have Christian fundamentals, religious fundamentals, Pan-African fundamentals, liberal fundamentals. The trick is to find the common ground and to make sure that those 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 parties that form a coalition make an agreement, a written agreement, a contractual agreement to put the citizens first. If you want to put your party first, it's going to be a short-term goal. It's going to be a short-term objective. If you put the citizens first, and we all agree on that, and various other aspects of the coalitions, principles of fighting against corruption, fighting against racism, fighting against xenophobia, these are things that are fundamental to how we should govern the country. So I don't think these coalitions are honeymoons for the rest of our days. There's going to be challenges. But if we agree to agree, and we sometimes don't get along, but at the end of the day, we're still in agreement that what we're doing is the best for the citizenry, I think we're going to be okay.
Oh, man. No, I agree. And it's such, when I look at all the facets of, like you do amazing work. You have soup kitchens. You feed how many people per week? Or is it per week now?
We do thousands. But yeah. I've got a wonderful organization now that I work with, the Greater Love Foundation, and it never stops. For every person you feed, there's another hungry person. So they're doing amazing work. And then my second major charity that I assist at Christmas time with their market is the Kungwini Welfare Society, or the Kungwini Welfare Organization. And they're also doing amazing work out in the east of Pretoria. You've got to find a cause. If you don't have one, find one and commit to assisting them as best you can whenever you can. And it gives you purpose. It's a good thing.
Purpose is a very good thing.
And you guys have been amazing. You guys have been amazing. And we've done, you know what, you chip away. You just chip away. I guess when Michelangelo made that statue of David, he was just chipping away.
Yeah, and eventually a masterpiece, happens. And I think
correct.
And that's I think I'm reading Jordan Peterson. I know he's very controversial nowadays, but some of the time, and also Hanan Bushkin, he's a South African young psychologist, and he just says, if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling slach, find purpose, do something for someone else, and your life will blossom. So I think what you do, like I say, you never stop. You're incredible, and a round of applause to you. If there are any other questions?
There's a lot of councillors. Let me tell you, I've got a new partner in crime, Leander Yaga, who's in the ward next to me.
Yes.
Nothing much was done before she got there, and I must tell you, if you think I'm busy, then try to hitch your wagon onto Leanne's trail. That lady is like a Duracell bunny, and so I'm trying to keep up. And we've got lots of councillors that are doing good things. And today, you will not believe it, I met a EFF councillor, Nogal. They go crazy in council and turn it into a circus. And then when I spoke to him one-on-one today, he's got such lofty ideals of assisting a community where he's the PR councillor that I have to help him, even though they irritate me. Those bloody. Okay, sorry. I don't know if you have adult rating, but they irritate you. And then the guy comes along and says, "Can you help me?" I'm like, "Absolutely. If you're doing something for the community, I've got your back."
No, that's brilliant. And I remember I read it in some record paper. They basically found a building and they weren't happy with the building in its condition, and they wanted a fence, and the article said that the owner thought the building was going to be hijacked. And at the end of the day, it was resolved legally, amicably, and they just wanted a fence and they just wanted to protect the community. So I think grassroots level, everyone must vote. I think that must become a new slogan, because we can't think. I know in the comments, I think Cameron said, if you don't vote, then you're not allowed to complain. It's not that. I mean, it's a good point. It's a very good and valid. It used to be that point, but I think now we have to vote in order just to change the status quo. We can't let this thuggery continue, and this thievery and every negative word that you could possibly imagine in the dictionary to continue. It's just not on. It's not cricket.
Well, I must just help you. Speaking as a politician, sometimes not voting is also a statement. You saw in the local municipal elections last year, so many people stayed away, which really brought one of the major parties to below 50% in so many of our municipalities, because people said enough is enough. Now, we may not have done enough to convince them to vote for us or for the multi-party or for a party in the multi-party, but that was a statement of fact that we no longer support the party that we've supported for 28 years, 27 years. And so not voting sometimes makes a louder statement than just voting willy-nilly for somebody because you like the color of their T-shirt. Look at the values, look at the ideologies, look at the principles. If you think of the diversity, the opportunity, freedom, and fairness, and that resonates with you, then you make a blue tick. But if there's something that excites you, look at the multi-party, do your homework. I've got to tell you, if you give me this platform, Ruth, thanks for this, but people have to make a conscious decision to vote for that change. We can all be change agents and be caught up in the ideologies of parties that are saying for the people, but if at the end of the day they're not for the people and their leader is in Ibiza flying around in private jets, smoking cohibas and drinking Corona or whatever, then what's the point? Then it's just a organization, or he's the CEO.
You can dress and wear what you like. Yeah, you can dress and wear what you like, but your actions, and I said this, I know in our faith, in the Jewish faith, so we have a belief that God doesn't judge you on your intentions. We all have good intentions. God judges you on your actions. And I think that's the key. That's what's so key when it comes to politics, especially in this country. Who is out there slogging? And Shaun, there's no one, I don't know about your Leanne, but I tell you, you've definitely earned your gold stars. I tell you what.
Thanks, Ruth. You're my number one fan, and I'm the same. But now, after meeting Charmaine, I'm wondering. Charlene. My vote, Charlene. See, she took my breath away. I can't even remember her name. She revved my motor, Ruth Rom.
It's that hair, I tell you, fluffy. That hair.
It's almost a Karen. Watch out for that hair. I know a good hairdresser, but speak to me. I'll make sure you get family discount.
Okay, excellent. Well done. Excellent stuff. Okay, guys. Well, this was just a short interlude and a check-in. So, yeah, thanks for coming to talk to us about Toastmasters. Is there, I don't know, I'll be looking into it. I think everyone else should too. See, I've said it again. I think that's my 7th strike.
11th. I've been counting. Oh, no. 11 times.
11, lucky number 11. Yeah, no, it's 11. And do you find people come with speech, just quickly to sort of, people with speech impediments, people who...
So we had a guy, I remember Michael, that came on your show before.
Yeah.
He stuttered. He was a stutterer.
Good heavens.
He actually had a stutter, quite a severe stutter. Huh. And he also chased the DTM, and we both got involved in 2015. By 2018, he was a DTM the week before me, and he lost his stutter. He unlearned his stutter, which I guess is something to write home about.
No, for sure. Do you want? I know that he's now with what's it? Action SA.
Anyway, so
okay.
talking about Charlene.
Okay, we'll leave that.
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay,
Future
we'll move
ex-friend, but we still love him, but we don't.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a while to forgive him.
Look, it's all part of life, I suppose. These things happen more often
is.
than we
It's politics.
Ja, nee, politiek. Ja, lekker met de K. All right, guys. I think we're gonna. Yeah, I think we should call it, before I start putting Shaun in trouble.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, but cheers,
This
everybody.
is wonderful.
We'll
Thanks, Ruth.
Pleasure,
We'll
Shaun.
chat soon.
Sweet. Okay.
Okay.
TTFN, everybody. Cheers.
Ciao.
Thanks for joining.